Hi, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 76, Refjorged.
Yes.
I enjoyed the title.
It was cute.
And
A few things we got right.
yeah,
And not just about the end.
yeah.
So,
So one of the things, well, because I thought about starting what we got right, what we got wrong.
okay.
But I think that a lot of that's too late in the episode,
Yeah.
and where normally we
A lot of it is late. A couple of things that happened pretty quickly, though, was you got right Randy's moral dilemma.
yeah.
You called that one last week. And a little bit later than that, I called that Caleb would get the shirt, the chain shirt.
Hmm.
I had said that, I said that because in the description, I remember in the description, because I remember thinking, oh, if I'm a wizard, I'm going to get that. When I play wizard, I'm going to get that. It says, even if you're not proficient with armor, you're proficient with this shirt while you're wearing it.
Yeah.
Velvet chain. And so he got it up to his AC. It is a +1 chain shirt, so ups him up to 15.
Which means with shield he gets to 20.
Yep.
And it also means that he doesn't have to prepare mage armor anymore.
Yep.
Which
frees up an extra spell.
Yep. One of the things that I thought was funny was the comments about Caleb's accent and his eye contact.
Yes. It's episode 76. I never look anyone in the eye. You did last week.
Which is one of those subtle things that when you're sitting this way on somebody, you probably aren't going to pick up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I also like the comment, it was very attractive, and that's like, yeah, I agree, because it was his wife doing it.
Yeah. I loved his excuse. It was the cold. And he didn't engage in their little contest.
No.
For the magic item. Even though he knew what it was. And arguably is probably one of the best equipped to decide when to use it.
Yeah.
Now, they called it a dispel magic, but I was thinking it might have been an anti-magic field.
Could be.
Because they said it disrupts everything within a range.
Yeah.
So I think it's a one-time use anti-magic field.
Yeah, I agree. Good. Well, and he said it will, take care of any magical hazards, traps, and stuff. Not said, oh, a dispel grenade. He said, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
So it could very well. And then he just didn't specify the spell because he was describing it in character.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too.
I loved how the dice dictated that scene about who was getting in the cup. I love Matt's narration. And I think he set the DC at 12. Because Bo, I think, rolled an 11. So you said it sort of rolled on the outside and then almost went in and went out.
Yeah.
And then Rini, who rolled a 15, got it in.
Yeah. And
they were giving it to her. She's like, well, I mean... And then she felt bad taking it because, it's their loot.
Yeah, and Jester got a 14 and it almost went out and went in.
Yeah.
So it's either 12 or 13.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone leaves. Kim's just like,
Yep.
So good.
Yeah, that was perfect.
There were more than one of those quiet, singular moments in this episode. And that was almost a foreshadowing of what was to come, I think, in some ways.
And I like, they were going to give it to Jester because she was the only one in the party that got it. And Rainy's like, well, you can already dispel magic. Why not give it to Bo? Which, is also foreshadowing of things to come near the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And Bo, in typical fashion, feel like you're pitying me. Are you pitying me? I don't want to be pitied.
And Ford leaping in on that.
In typical fashion. Yeah, they are. You want it? I do. Ford hoarding the items.
Yeah, that put him at 4. She was yeah. And the end of the episode got him 5.
Yep. So, I don't know if we want to jump that far ahead, but are we going to see him redistribute those items now that he's back?
I want to say no, but I think yes.
Okay. And I think they're not going to go to necessarily the same people. They may, but
no, I think the dagger's going to not, and the axe will return to Jester.
Okay.
I think he keeps the whip.
I think I like him with the whip, especially 20-foot reach when he gets smites.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Bo gets the dagger.
He'll be a Hexadin with he's at 5th level spells.
Yeah.
Right now. So 68, right?
Yep. Yeah. And he can pull them in close to then use the Star Razor.
Yeah. Which we still don't know what that does.
Right.
Which was a large piece of paper.
Yeah, it was a good sized card for
which you'd expect for a vestige.
Yes. I'm hoping Bo gets the dagger. And we talked about this because it's a monk weapon. She is statistically, mathematically, the best one to have it. Going to get the most use out of it.
Yeah.
So +2 monk weapon.
Yeah. And I don't think, because it's a monk weapon, she can use her martial arts die instead of the D4.
Exactly.
And I think Sam has been consciously steering away from daggers.
Yeah.
So even if he gave not that dagger, I don't think we'd ever see its use.
Yeah, not really.
Where it gives Bo a ranged option.
Yes.
Where right now she doesn't have that.
Yes.
I don't know if she wants to be throwing a +2
once at a time.
That increases her reach. That's not a ranged option.
That's true. That's semantics, but that's true.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the Glove of Blasting goes to Jester. I don't think it will.
I don't think that's going anywhere.
But so he's got Eldritch Blast back.
Yeah.
I hope that she gets it because it's going to give her a ranged option without using spells, so she can get her damage dealing fix while still healing people.
I mean, that's a good argument to give it to her.
I don't think it's going to happen, but that's what I want to see happen.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think
if it goes anywhere, it's going back to Caleb.
Yeah. If Liam doesn't ask for it,
it stays with Ford.
Yeah, I think so. And in either case, I look forward to that conversation. Because the Glove of Blasting, no, that was before he held the sword to Caleb's throat, right? Or did he get that after?
No, it was before.
That's right.
That was one of the first things they got.
Yeah. And there was confusion over the armor.
Mm-hmm.
And
Calculating AC.
well, not just that, but the name of it.
Yeah.
And like,
and I think that was a typo because I believe it's just called Elven Chain, not Elven Chain Mail in 5th edition.
Yeah.
And it is a chain shirt. But older editions, it was Elven Chain Mail. It could be a chain shirt or it could be chain mail. And I think that's where all the confusion came.
Well, and Matt said that he brought it over from the older edition, like in his brain.
Yeah.
When he was writing the card. Yeah.
And I think that's where what happened. But I'm pretty sure it's just called Elven Chain. I could be wrong in the DMG, but it is a +1 chain shirt that you are proficient with, even if you're not proficient in medium armor.
Yeah. Do you think that a hidden benefit is going to show up later? Because it's essentially Ice Flux.
It could. I think it might.
Do you think it happens when they take cold damage or fire damage or whatever triggering benefit it's going to have that Matt says, do you want to take all the damage?
Yeah.
And whether or not that removes the ice fleckiness of it, I don't know. Or if he trades them cards after it happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, that's where my mind was going with that shirt.
And we discussed that, with its blue sheen, that it might be Ice Flux.
Yeah. And I enjoyed Liam's comparison to Mr. Frodo.
Yes.
And Frodo's shirt. But yeah. They decide to case the house, and Jester's like, we always do this, we can't go in, we're not going in. And Matt, I thought, did a pretty good job indicating that the house was empty.
Yeah.
I don't think the players picked up on that.
No. Okay, is it me, or is every time they set out to case something, infiltrate something, reminiscent of a bad 80s comedy? Well, in bad, I mean good. I mean Stripes, or Three Amigos, or...
I think that's every D&D table.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. There's certain... Well, there was one part of the episode, and now I didn't write it down exactly when. But I think it was after the break. Somebody said something, and it triggered the Breakfast Club music to play in my head. And we've talked about them and the Breakfast Club before. Yeah. So, yeah. A heist movie of the same era makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's a lot like in the Breakfast Club when they're running through the halls trying to avoid the teacher.
Yeah. I think Matt had, at the beginning of this episode, he had where he wanted to go. And he was doing everything he could to get there in as fast of a way as possible.
Yeah. Well, I think he wanted to get to the end point that they got to, and he was trying to get through everything to get them back to the forge.
Yes. Including making it essentially a series of lockpicking checks.
Yeah.
Just to get to the room. Essentially, that's what that...
Yeah, it was essentially a skill challenge.
And one of the things that I'm kind of saddened that got sped through is the discussion of the moons.
Yeah.
And I think Marisha is onto something. And I think it made me kind of sad that she didn't get what she was after in that scene. And part of it is she's holding stuff back from that guy, so he's not going to be able to give her those answers, which makes sense to me. But if they had been role-playing out that discussion, it might have happened a little more organically.
Yeah.
Whereas, for the sake of brevity, what do you guys want to know? What do you want out of this meeting? Is what he did. And that's because he wanted. This was Mika's last night. He wanted to draw her story to a close. He wanted to get to the sword reforging, and he didn't know how long they were going to take getting into the house. Because, as all players do, they overcomplicated it.
Yep. Overcomplicate and then overcorrect. That is the D&D way.
Yes. But one of the interesting things in that scene, and this is me picking apart what Matt says.
Okay.
It may be that he just hasn't given it enough thought to put a number on it.
Okay.
Exactly. But he says Katha's phases are 30 to 40 day cycles. Which means it's not a regular 28-day cycle like our moon is.
Right.
Which has a relatively circular orbit. So Katha has a highly elliptical orbit.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. And may be an influence of Brutus. Or, I don't know. Because you can't necessarily ascribe modern astrophysics to your D&D world, and doing so, I think in some ways paints you into a box. Because D&D takes a very ancient Greek, Egyptian sort of take. That was the playground of the gods.
Yeah.
They could make patterns in the stars. They would move, they're responsible for the planets. So trying to ascribe an astrophysical phenomena to it might paint you into a box. Whereas, a moon in reality doesn't just appear in orbit around a planet. But in D&D it can. Stars can wink out of the sky, and that's significant. New stars can come. That's significant.
And I mean, prime example of that is the Dragonlance novels.
Yep. Well, and that's been key in the last arc of Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yeah. When the gods were, when Fizban the Fabulous was there, the Paladine constellation was disappeared from the sky.
Yeah.
Because he came down to Earth.
Yeah.
Or Crane.
Yeah. So while I wish there was a little more of that, and giving a little more encouragement to Bo, because I think she is right. Not in the sense that the moon is causing all of this, necessarily, but all these things are happening because the moon's in the sky.
Yeah.
Not that the moon is causing it.
Right.
Its appearance is significant to the followers of these evil deities. Also, I was like, he said it takes a year for Venus to go around. which is significant because that essentially means each orbit of Rudis is a tick since the calamity.
Yep.
And we don't know how many ticks it's got before it completes its mission, if that is a thing.
Well,
because the view is the gods stopped the betrayer gods from succeeding in what they were doing.
I'm going to have to guess somewhere around 821 to 830, depending on how long before the calamity was made.
Same.
If I had to put a number on it.
And if you wanted to be significant, you could do 824. Because 824 is divisible by 8 for 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing that I thought. And like I say, it could be that Matt just hasn't thought about a specific number, maybe.
Yeah.
Or that in each month on his calendar has different number of days.
Yeah.
And in his mind, he had put that to the moon, but hadn't given it a whole lot of thought. Any one of those things can be true. Yeah, just something I thought was interesting, and I was a little sad that it got sort of rushed and passed by. But we get to the mission, and the rogue does the rogue thing, i.e., murder somebody immediately.
Well, you know, rogues will be rogues.
So good. And really, Knott's idea would have covered up that crime.
Yeah.
Rather than, well, no, we need to hide the body so that they don't see it. Let him see it. Just have him with the crossbow in his lap released, and just put his heavy crossbow bolt into the small holes from your hand crossbow.
Yeah.
So yeah. Many things will come down on them for this, I think, because one of the things we saw is whoever is the owner of that house is magically savvy.
Yes.
And they had some sort of inventive alarm on the chests. Not an alarm spell that will trigger when someone comes into the room, but when somebody opens the chest. And not when somebody dispels the trap.
Yeah.
When somebody attempts, I think, and Matt said that it was enchantment magic on the chests, which leads me to believe that it's a hold person or hold monster.
Yeah.
That is the trap on the chests. Designed to hold whoever is attempting to pick the lock, because basically they get alarm or whatever triggers they got some sort of a signal that this happened. Get in there and get the people who did this.
Yep. Stop them from making the escape before the guards get there.
Not Stinking Cloud. Cloud Kill.
Yeah.
I think is the spell that was on the armoire. When Caleb went into French. Which got another big heavy laugh at the table. Because he went into the French accent. But yeah, Knott's murder of the guard was sort of the first domino.
Yes.
In Reni's test in this episode. And then they found the journal or the letter, the box. And the male fraudster is the one
Yep. Of course. Of course she is.
And I love it. The paper is blank. What? Yeah. So good. Do you think, because normally to break a code, it's a straight intelligence check.
Correct.
It's not an investigation check.
It is not.
But it technically also wasn't a cipher.
Yeah.
So I sort of went back and forth on Matt doing that in the moment. But Bo also has, of all of them, has the most background in smuggling and criminal enterprise.
Right.
So
Given
giving her
that is her background.
So just giving her the investigation check and telling her, yeah, you're able to surmise that this is about this, without going into specifically what it says. Right. Rini asks if, in that moment when he says how it's signed, or earlier, no, it was earlier, because she asked, do I know that they're connected to those assholes you told me about?
Yeah.
And Matt said, you don't know. And we find out they are. And not only that, we also learned that they're connected to the Mighty Nine via the Iron Shepherds and what went down.
And where Lorenzo was supposed to be a returning villain.
Yeah. So some interesting correlations there in that scene. One, all 5 stations are full.
Yes.
So their plan, whatever it was, is almost complete. They're missing, presumably, one thing. This thing that has been promised to be given to them.
Mm-hmm.
All of the locks on said boxes, Matt described as triple tumblers. 3 locks. And the orb of Ukuto was supposed to be going to them.
Yep. 3 is the magic number. There's even an old 90s song about that.
But and that sort of, I was like, man, that's. But in the moment, I think we are supposed to believe that they are trying to unlock, to release Ukuto. But what if they're not?
Like Arthurion saving.
Yeah.
They were trying to keep it from reaching the temple. And good old Ford screwed that one up.
Because Uthadurn is awfully far away from the Menagerie Coast.
Yeah.
But the family's been gone for several days. They could have gotten that letter, made arrangements, and headed south to get down there to get it themselves.
Yeah.
Greenie is supposed to be in to Malayasmere in the Savalier Woods. And that's going to be the first place that they're going to want to go back to, I think. Because Caduceus now has 3.5 seeds by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I guess you could call them that.
But yes, I was going to make the point that winging it for them does seem to work out better than planning. We'll talk about MVP later, I think. But the winging it is sort of where my mind was at with MVP for the episode. But what do you think that book was?
I don't. Okay, so I've never seen one of these. What I think it is, I don't know. I've never seen one of these actually put into play. I know they exist, but this is going to jump forward to Ford because it's one of the theories about his thing, and that it's the plus how we got the +2 to strength.
And when Matt went back, did the live video on Twitter, and filmed them all doing their hit points, and asked Travis, "Are you doing what are you doing?" And Paladin, yeah. I made the comment that we said it would be involving a book, and I'm still 80% that that's what it was, but that would be predicated on the notion that Liam knew that Travis wanted to do Paladin, or he was making a judgment call based on, of everyone here, you're the most sensitive about your strength.
Yeah, that's what I think it is more. Or you're the one that needs help, and at this point, I still don't know when you're going to get powers back.
No, that's true too.
Yeah. The other thing I thought it is, and I'm just going to jump up to that real quick since we're talking about the strength bump, is a combination of the montaging he did, where he was trying to do everything with everyone, work out with Bo instead of Caleb, and in exchange for the Uk'otoa boon. Because I don't know if he gets to keep that control water invocation that was made for the Uk'otoa thing.
Well, I think he does.
Okay, you think he does?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't know if that was taken away, and not that that's once a day control water is equivalent to a +2 strength, but...
Well, the thing is his interactions with the Wild Mother have all been oceanic themed.
Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't mean, and she said, this darkness will be with you forever.
And there's also the argument that he got it from placing the orb in the lock, not from Uk'otoa saying, yes, from Uk'otoa, but not in you've served me, here's a boon.
Yeah.
More of this item that's created to keep me, it's released the energy into,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can see that too. But yeah. The other potential is it may be a Book of Shadows. It may be Vandren's Book of Shadows.
Yeah. You think Vandren was a tome warlock?
Possible.
I mean, it's possible. I've been going on the assumption he was a blade.
Yeah.
Because he had the fathoms, the sort of fathoms.
But it would make sense. Like a tome lock, which was closer to what Avantika was.
Right, which was my theory, then that the thing with the statue was a ritual.
Right.
Because she had the...
So, like, she might have taken the tome aspect from Vandren, and Ford took the blade aspect. So that's my
personally. I think if you're a pirate warlock, you should be packed up a chain so you can have the monkey or the parrot. But
or the imp, disguising itself as a crow,
which is a monkey parrot.
Yeah, it's true. Uh, uh,
Not to stay on topic or anything.
Yeah. So do we want to speculate about what the wand was?
What do you think it was?
I think it was a wand of wonder.
I love that item.
I just think Matt reskinned it.
Okay, I can see that.
Because when Caduceus was looking at it, it was basically fluctuating between all the schools of magic.
Yeah.
And seemingly at random, he said.
Yeah.
So that screamed to me wand of wonder.
That one is so freaking
And
hilarious.
I think if they had gotten it and that's what it was, then when they used it, instead of the little things sprouting and spinning, I think the runes on the side would have started lighting up and then it would have cast whatever.
I love the random roulette aspect of that.
And the ring, I think, is probably either a ring of protection or a ring of shielding. Because Matt said it was abjuration. So
the ring that they
didn't get.
Okay. Yeah.
And the ring that they got was enchantment, and that was a dream ring.
Yes. Yeah. The ring and yeah. There's some. I was like, oh, because okay, so the thought that went through my head is the lady they gave it to knows Randy. We know that Randy talks a lot. We know that Randy isn't good at keeping her secrets. This lady more than likely knows about Samael and can now
make Randy believe that Samael
is
talking to her. And she even now has an in that she could guilt trip her into doing something because Rainey did this particular job with these people to bring this back to her. Yeah.
That's where my brain went.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe wearing the crown was a little bit of foreshadowing of that.
Yeah.
Not that we'll know anytime soon.
You know, I'd really like to see a one-shot that any of the regular players and, like, Rainey in the Savalier Woods running into, you know, well, maybe some of the regular players, but not the regular characters, running into Keg, running into Shikasta.
Just well, the only two guest stars who are not in the Savalier Wood are Shikasta and Kaliana. Everyone else is still near Shady Creek Run.
Who both have backstory reasons,
to be
motivation reasons to go back there, and just have a all guest star team up.
Yep.
I would love to see that.
There was some talk about that on Twitter too, and I made the point in that thread.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on her name. The Furball Druid.
Neela.
Yes.
Somali.
It's like, it starts with an N. What's her name? Yeah, Neela. I was like, Neela is at Caduceus' Grove. And maybe, depending on how quick Caduceus pushes them to go back there, maybe we'll have a return.
Yeah.
Assumingly, as Neela. But yeah, or we'll just have Matt will have to Jaeger her.
Yes.
As he does with Shikasta with the sendings. Yeah. So the potion, I think, is a potion of telepathy, I think. Something like that. Because Matt also said that was enchantment. But yeah. one of the things that worried me on my rewatch was I became concerned that I'm wondering if Liam might be having hearing loss.
Okay.
Because when he's talked about it in the past, he had an inner ear problem before they started the stream, and getting through that with them and the game was powerful for him, important. And in this episode, now normally when Liam doesn't catch what Matt's narrating, it's because he's in D&D Beyond and he's where he's in the player's handbook, and he just, and in that sense he's not hearing. But there was a moment in this episode where there wasn't a whole lot of side talk. There was some,
right?
Enough that, and that's why I say I wonder if it's hearing loss, because it was enough side talk that if he is having trouble, then
well, I didn't catch that, and I hope it's not. But that's interesting.
And it has not, I guess it has nothing to do with the episode, but and I didn't catch it on my initial watch either. It was just on my rewatch. I was like, yeah, and I got kind of worried about it. But after the break, Matt does fast travel to get to the forge, and we've got several pairings.
Right. Well, first we have Caduceus Commune, and puts all of the green crystals into the magma and gets out purple potatoes, essentially.
Do you remember? Because in my head, and I don't know why, I thought this, but the image that's in my brain of them is of the castle in Krull.
Yes.
Like just the way Matt described it, basically growing out.
Yeah.
With the spikes, and the castle from Krull is what I was thinking.
Okay. And see, I stuck with the colors, and I'm like, okay, because green and purple. Well, some of you may know, I'm a huge comic book nerd. Been reading comics since the mid '80s. Green and purple are the classic supervillain colors. The colors that denote evil. The villains are either in green, in purple, or in green and purple. The only exception is the Hulk, who's a villain as often as he is a hero anyway.
Yeah.
Dr. Doom, Lex Luthor, Green Goblin, the Joker, Diablo. It was like, okay, is there something nefarious going to happen with these?
And they're also opposites on the color wheel.
This is true too.
Which is where I think the importance is, and I think these are the pills to cure the land.
I think so.
These are the grail, if you will, the thing that needs to be returned to the land to heal it. So, yeah. We'll see if I'm right. It's interesting that there was 3.5.
Yes.
Things. So
4.5.
4.5. Yeah, sorry, 4.5. Yeah. There's 3 locations that Caduceus was on about. So 2 of them are probably for that. One may be for Jorhas. And the half
one for 4?
No, I think it's for the Laughing Hand. Or to relock Ukatoa.
Yeah.
Which would be technically 4-4, yeah. But, yeah. But we had Jester, Rini, Knot, and Bo talking about celebrating.
Yes.
And Bo says, I bought this in case Knot went off the deep end. And she's kind of like, and she didn't partake of that bottle.
She did not.
And Jester, in customary fashion, did not.
Yes.
And Bo got upset. She's like, "Don't let me be. I don't want to." And she's like, "You're not alone. I'll be here." But
yeah.
And Rini's like, "No, I'll drink." So they start getting drunk, and they sort of all go off in their separate ways for a bit, and then
Caduceus, compliments Knot on that, and Rini offers her some, and
yeah, this was rougher on my rewatch. And it was hard. It was pretty rough at my initial watch. But yeah, I want to talk at length about that, so I want to cover everybody else before Knot.
Okay.
But we have Jester and Rini.
Yes. And the note with the picture and the book of recipes.
Yep. Which got Mika crying.
Mm-hmm. So earlier, she also, because they had the sleepover, got a pamphlet of the Traveler. Do we see Rini at Traveler Con?
If we do, it's because she saw the dragon flying south.
Okay.
And it turns out to be a big revolving door episode.
Yeah.
Of guest stars, maybe.
Which we've had.
Yes, we had. The fight with Vecna.
Yes.
Was basically that way.
Yes.
And then we have Bo and Rini.
Mm-hmm. Bo Hefner.
We learned a lot about Bo's sexuality in this episode. Because we learned that the pain from working out arouses her.
Did we learn a lot, or did we already know?
Well,
she's made comments in the past. I mean, this is the first time it's explicitly stated.
Yes.
But it's definitely been heavily implied.
I will give you that, yes. Heavily implied.
I don't think we've really learned anything. I think we've just confirmed what we knew.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, that had me, well, had everybody really, I think, just laughing.
Got a guest star in every port.
I love Laura's comment. My mom could learn something from Bo. Knot and Caleb, and this is the scene that got at me, and it's because the one thing we've seen from Knot, from Sam, is Knot found a bit of peace with these outcasts because they didn't judge her based on her being a goblin.
Yeah.
And Sam on Talks said that one of the reasons she drinks so much is because that is how, to him, the change from Veth to Knot manifested is in her drinking getting turned up to 11.
Mm-hmm.
And that hasn't been expressed at the table.
Right.
So that's our knowledge of the dynamics that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So not this episode has had everyone that she cares about in the Mighty Nine be down on her for her drinking, which she considers to be the core of her goblinness, as it were.
Yeah.
It's the expression of her goblinness, as well as her fear.
Yeah.
Those are two aspects of that got cranked up. And everyone in the Mighty Nine in this episode was either stop drinking, you don't need it, or oh, I'm glad to see you're not drinking.
Yeah.
And Sam, I think, was trying really hard to be subtle in his performance of it.
Okay.
Because I think Knott is trying to hide it. And in the Knott and Caleb conversation, she says, look, I have a feeling that I'm not going to get what I want until you all get what you want.
Yeah.
She said, look, if I wanted fun, I would be in Nicodranus right now. You know, I got to put in this work. And she stays invisible. And while she's invisible, Sam narrates that she drinks when he can't see her. And so I think in going forward, I think we're going to see more addict behavior from Knott, where she's now going to be hiding her consumption.
Yeah, I agree.
Where she's just going to be invisible. And that's going to cause even more problems.
Yeah.
Because not only is she going to be drunk, she's also using her resources
to be drunk.
Yeah. So she's spending her spell slots to make sure she can be drinking.
Yeah.
Which of course is another furthering downward spiral of the addict arc.
Yeah.
So yeah, that scene was kind of, and like I said, on my rewatch, I noticed a lot more of it.
Yeah, no, that stuck out to me too. That she's using her resources. We did have Ford and Caleb. We touched on it in giving the book, but I think the part that stood out for me was the Caleb pep talk. You know, and this is why I think it was, you know, how he said, because, hey, you haven't got your abilities. We don't know when you're getting them back. Here's this. You know, if you think it's not for you, give it to someone else. But
I think you have the most interest in it, or something along those lines.
Yeah, but he also says, I notice, you know, you're feeling less than. You're feeling like you don't contribute. That's not true. You know, and he points that out. And we've talked about him being the lawful evil character and taking that, but I think this is him returning to that neutral, trying to be good character that he was in the beginning before he started slipping back into those old tendencies.
Well, and I think while Caleb hoards knowledge, I think he's learned potentially the wrong lesson from his confrontations with Bo and Ford over magic items. Which is, you know, he arguably, in some cases, is probably the best person to take that thing. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure.
Well, in the past, he was never. To me, he never came off as that guy. Well, not really. It's I can benefit from this, so I'm going to keep it. Oh, I have no interest in this. It'd be good for you though.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I want everything. It was. I want the stuff that I want. If I don't want it, it'll go to whoever I think is best for it.
That's fair. Ford and the Wild Mother.
Mm-hmm.
Was a big scene.
Yes.
One that, we saw coming. Matt seemed surprised that Travis didn't struggle against Kelp. Do you think, or do you think I'm wrong in that?
I think you're wrong in that. I think the rest of the table was surprised. I guess he was surprised to a degree, but I think he was pleasantly like, good, this is what I wanted. This is what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Not like I didn't think you were going to not struggle, but more like I wasn't sure and I was hoping for.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the test of faith.
Yeah. And I think Travis knew that.
Probably, yeah.
And
yeah, that's fair. So, if the tome wasn't the +2 strength, because Laura and Marisha both seem to be under the impression that Matt just gave him
right.
+2 strength.
Yeah, the Captain America Spider-Man comments.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I was like, well, maybe that's trait for the boon plus the training montages.
Okay.
Switching out, so that he can multi-class. Because we talked about Matt doing something like that.
Yeah.
We also talked about
either him waiving the
restriction, giving him the +2, switching the requirement, having the sword let him use charisma so that he can qualify.
Yeah.
We talked about the Gauntlets of Ogre Power. We did talk about the book, its ways to get that +2 strength before the ASI.
Yep.
Yeah. My initial watch, I thought it was okay. This is in exchange for the Ukatoa specific boon plus the training montages. But I think on my rewatch, is when I connected the book. Oh, maybe it was the book.
Yeah.
And I'm 85% sure it's the book, and 15-20% it's in exchange for the boon.
Okay. I think it's either the book or Matt just gave him +2. Because he went so many sessions.
Yeah.
Without anything.
And that's part of what I mean by the training montage.
But I don't
think you're going to face this bare bones, and he still acted bravely, and he still got into it.
Right. I don't think he lost the control water. Because he didn't lose his other invocation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. It will be interesting because Matt now has something that doesn't always happen in games, where he has the same deity but 2 different characters in 2 different classes with the same deity. So you get to explore different aspects.
Technically, you have 2 different characters in 3 different classes for the same deity. Because the Wild Mother because Matt did clarify that he has a level 9 Hexblade with the, and Paladin, and the Wild Mother had, I think narratively he made it obvious that the Wild Mother is his new patron as a Hexblade. So he's a Warlock of, and a Paladin of, well, Caduceus is a Cleric of.
Well, that's fair. That's true.
and I only specify that because that does change the interaction. If you're a multi-class,
That's true.
like if you're
a cleric paladin,
or a Fey warlock, Oath of Ancients paladin, or a cleric paladin, or a divine soul sorcerer paladin,
or divine soul sorcerer cleric,
or any of those
derivations,
derivations. However, it changes the way you interact with your deity.
Yeah,
because each class has its own tool set and its own flavor of how you interact
based
with
on that relationship. Yeah.
And I think that's fun to explore.
Yeah, for sure. The other big one that we had was the 2 clerics.
Yes.
Caduceus and Jester.
I really like that interaction.
I did too. And it's been a long time coming, I think. And where Taliesin Caduceus decided that this sword was going to be his gift for Ford, especially if he could overcome this dark influence on him. I think Caduceus is... I think he's planning something. I think he's planning a gift for Jester. And I think it has something to do with Traveler Con.
Okay. He's going to come out as the Traveler?
No. But I think it might have something to do with their level 10 class feature.
Oh, nice.
So
I really hope he rolls well then.
Yeah. Which, there's no talks tonight, so we were going to go a little longer.
Yes.
Because my normal alarm is going off. It tells me we should be ending, but we figured we'd go a little longer tonight and talk about the level 10.
Yes.
And
which we
timed it pretty good.
Yeah.
In our discussion. So.
Yeah, and we called the level 10. We said it would happen at the Forging of the Sword.
Yep.
And that's, that was like, oh, they leveled at the end of the episode, which was the Reforging of the Sword.
Yep. Which now officially is the part 2 of the campaign.
Right.
Really.
Now, here's my question. Is it because they forged the sword, or is it because Bo got laid?
Yes, I've seen that they level up every time Bo gets laid. But Bo has not been laid. She hasn't had sex 7 times. This is a confirmation bias of people in the audience.
Do you count fanfic?
No.
They'd be level 20 by now.
Yes. But yeah, as funny as it is to joke about, it's
and it was. Everyone got average or better hit points.
Yeah.
There were a few people on the D8s that rolled 5, which is what you take for the average, but it's still on the upper half of the dice. So
yes, because the average is 4.5. Rounded up to 4 or 5. Yeah. Yeah. And Sam rolled a 1 initially and re-rolled it and got a 7, I think.
Caduceus.
Oh, okay. Was it? Yeah, I don't.
Yes, because Taliesin says 1. Matt says re-roll 1s. Taliesin says bless you.
That's right.
And he gets a 7.
Yes, that was the tail end of that video.
Yeah.
And I was more interested in trying to freeze the frame and see what Matt had on the back of his DM screen, because it was some kind of map or chart.
Yeah. And I think not rolled a 6. So.
And I was trying to discern what that was. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give up on it, because I think it was just some sort of chart for him to have for Uthodurn. I think is all it was.
Okay.
Or it was a teardrop plot thing that said, here's the events of the episode, and where, I want everything to come
Gotcha.
to this point.
These are the things that could have potential happen, how to get them back up to this.
Yeah. But yeah. I spent about 10 minutes trying to pause it and squint and yeah.
So should we talk about the level ups?
Yeah, that's
okay. I know you've got not list first, but because that's going to be some fun speculation,
okay.
Let's move that down to
the end.
Right near the end there.
Okay, fair enough.
Right before the NPC.
Bo, 10th level, purity of body.
Immune to poison and disease.
Yep. Which means
she can have sex with whoever.
Yes, but it also means that she can now challenge not to a drinking contest and drink not under the table.
Yes, it now means does it now mean she can't get drunk? Because drunk is just a poison condition. She's immune to poison. She says, Bo can no longer get drunk. The best reason ever to play a monk.
Yeah. Unless she wants to. Because arguably, drunken masters.
No, by their flavor, they pretend to be drunk.
That's true. But, yeah. Caleb, big one for him.
Oh, I love this.
And I look forward to seeing how Liam uses it.
So, he gets the shape changer ability for the transmutation subclass. And what that says is if you don't have polymorph in your spellbook, you get it. In addition to that, you can cast it without using a spell slot, only targeting yourself, and only to turn into a beast of CR1 or less. But you get to do it once every rest, short or long.
Yep.
So he is now a lycanthrope.
Or sort of a quasi-druid.
Yes.
Because it's not as good as beast shape, because he loses his intellects. But yeah, I look forward to seeing how Liam uses it. It will be interesting.
Yes.
And the first time he turns into a cat and goes off on an adventure with Frumpkin will be awesome.
Yes.
Jester and Caduceus both, as I alluded to a moment ago, have divine intervention now.
Yes. Which means they can call upon their deity to intervene on their behalf. They roll percentile. Their percentage chance of success is equal to their level, which means right now they have a 10% chance.
Yep.
If they succeed, they can't use it for 7 days. If they fail, they can keep trying.
Yeah. In Campaign 1, this got Grayskull Keep rebuilt.
Yes. Yes, it did. Good old Pike.
Yep. Called on Sarenrae, succeeded, and they got a Planetar, I think, something like that, for a week to help rebuild the temple.
Yep.
So, and there were other... Pike, I think, succeeded on divine intervention 3 times?
I believe so, yeah.
And I think she only attempted to use it 4 or 5.
Yeah.
She had a really good success rate.
Yeah, she had a really good success rate. Of course, I think the last time she was when they were level 20, and that automatically succeeds. You don't have to roll once you hit level 20.
That's right. Ford, taking his level of Paladin.
Yes. He gets nothing from the multi-class.
Right.
Because as a Hexblade, he has the shield, medium, and light armor, simple martial weapons. Yeah. But he gets Divine Sense and Lay on of Hands.
Yep. So he now is a 3rd source of healing.
Yes.
In the party. Only 5 hit points right now. But it's something.
But Divine Sense is what's going to be.
So I'm of two minds on this, and we'll have to wait to see. Is I don't know if Ford uses it a lot, but I could see him using it a lot, like the way that Caduceus uses Eyes of the Grey.
I see him using it like that. I see him trying it out a few times to see how he likes it. And if it yields things, he's going to use it like Caduceus uses Eyes of the Grey. If it doesn't yield the first 3, maybe 4 times, it's going to be a rare occurrence.
Yeah.
But yeah, he can use it technically 6 times a day.
Yep. Do you think Matt let him make, or made him make, any changes to his Warlock spell choice? I mean, we've already talked about whether or not he had to give up Control Water Invocation.
Yeah. And the only reason I thought he might have to give that up is because of the Ukuto. It wasn't like one of them he got through his levels.
Right.
It was one of them he got from something else that was
Outside
created specifically for that arc, for that patron.
Right.
You know. And that was the only reason. But you're right. She is, also over the oceans, being the nature, and it would make sense for him also to be able to keep it.
Yeah. I think he gets rid of the Summon Greater Demon.
I don't think Matt makes him, but I think Matt allows him to if he feels like it.
Fair.
My biggest question is, what is the Spectre going to look like? Is that going to change?
Probably.
At least cosmetically. Because I see it changing in a way that it's not going to offend Caduceus every time it pops up.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, it offends Caduceus every time it pops up.
Yes. Which will be an interesting exchange when it does happen.
Yes.
One of the things, Ashley levels up when they level up.
Yes.
Even if she's not there.
Yes.
And even if Yasha hasn't been involved in what they've been doing.
Because she's been involved in her own things.
Right. So she levels up to level 10.
Yes.
Whether or not Ashley will do that now or at the table when she comes back.
I feel like it's going to be later.
So do I.
Because Matt made the comment, "I'll keep you updated on what happens with her."
Yeah.
So I think it may even be Matt deciding any changes to a degree.
Well, I mean, she doesn't have any changes really to make, other than she
Right.
gets.
I mean, she gets the zealous presence.
Yeah.
That's pretty static.
Yeah.
Which
Once per long rest, she can grant advantage on attack rolls
and saving throws
and saving throws.
till the beginning of her next turn to up to 10 people that can hear
Within
her
30 feet?
that can hear her scream.
Yeah.
I think it's 30, yeah.
Which will make the fight against the Laughing Hand and the
Yeah.
his name. But yeah, it will make that fight all the more difficult.
Yes. Because for a round they're going to get advantage on.
Yeah. So last one that we wanted to talk about. Not. It's
Level
an
10.
ASI.
Level 10 they get their extra ASI. They get 1 extra ASI and it's right here. I think she will go feet.
So do I.
And I know the ones you have listed. I know which one I prefer as a player. Yeah, I think it's going to be your first choice there.
Yeah, I think for Not, there's top two choices are Skulker and Sharpshooter.
Yes.
She seems to taking crossbow master
Mm-hmm.
or crossbow expert seems to have been pointing her in the direction of a sharpshooter.
Yes.
That's a very common combination. But Skulker for not is an RP choice.
Well,
I think, and potentially huge.
here's the thing about Skulker. If she shoots her crossbow while hidden, she's no longer hidden.
Unless she misses.
With Skulker, if she misses, she's still hidden.
Yep.
Doesn't have to remake the roll.
Right. And that's why I think it's a big deal. And it allows you, Skulker allows you to hide in dim light.
Hide in dim light.
So she doesn't have to look for that cover anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She can just...
And you ignore the disadvantage that dim light imposes on perception checks.
So, one point I wanted to make, my last point, is Matt's genius in how he's designed all of his plot threads to be heading south again.
Yes.
To places that the players have been before.
Mm-hmm.
And to NPCs that they already know.
Yep.
Because at this point now that the plot's doing this, he can concentrate on encounter design and doesn't have to flesh out these locations because he already did all that work.
Yeah.
Plus, if you think of the leveling as an act structure, the first 5 levels is your act 1.
Okay.
And they did a lot of their traveling in those first 5 levels.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 to 10 is act 2, building tension. And 10 to 17 is your crescendo into resolution, which is it's pretty similar to how Vox Machina campaign went.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see basically, now that they've hit level 10, we're going to go to all the places that they've been, where before they were small fish and had to avoid getting stepped on. Now they're of significant power that when they go into these places, they are the power.
Yeah.
Because the logic of D&D is almost nobody hits level 10.
Yeah.
Only the most powerful people in the city are going to be level 10. And that almost nobody gets to 15, 17, 20.
Yeah.
So, and Matt has actually reflected that, much to my, as I've talked about before, my grates on me that, true polymorph hasn't come up yet. But you made a good point that so few people attain that power that it would make sense that it is a rare understanding. So, yeah, they are now at level 10, true power brokers in any town they go into.
So, yeah, I am looking forward to this. We're also at the level where last time they started delving into individual storylines, resolving backstories.
Yes.
Against the backdrop of the building tension of the main plot. I'm excited for that. We've touched on a lot of backstories.
I don't think we get it this time.
I think the ones that we get are what I'm excited for.
Fair.
I think we are going to get Bo's hometown. I'm excited for that, to delve into Bo.
I think it's possible. I think Marisha will do everything she can to keep that from happening.
I agree. I think we will revisit the gentleman.
Oh,
and
yeah.
find out if he is indeed how we believe and what's basically been spoiled. But again, confirmation what we know.
Yeah.
Of his parentage of Jester.
Yep. Well, and how involved he has been in these demonic cults.
Yeah.
How connected he really is.
Yeah.
And
what's that going to do to Jester if he is connected?
The big thing is, what if the reason the Traveler is in her life is because the gentleman is also an adherent?
Yeah.
Not that he's a cleric or anything, just that he's an adherent. So, yeah.
Well, there's that. My thought was, what happened, she's built up this idea of her dad, and, oh, wait, my dad's this guy that's aiding all these demon worshippers actively and willingly, not unknowingly.
Yeah.
But he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Which is another, trope, so to speak. I'm looking forward to both of those. I'm looking forward to returning to Nicodranus, because I'm really, really hoping that they go into the Silver Silt Palace.
Mm.
I think that's been pretty much forgotten, but
Yeah.
I really want it to come up. I really want them, because like we speculated back then, what if, Ganassi are kind of half and Jen? What if that's Jester's grandpa?
Yeah. Yeah. And, well, if they go back to Nicodranus, I think it would be funny for them to be tapped to solve the power crisis that they caused.
Yeah.
Like, the powers that be might not know that it was them. But, hey, because we have been having, even this far north in Uthodurn, he brought up Marquette.
Yeah.
And they sent that guy to Marquette.
Yep.
So maybe the people in Nicodranus were like, hey, we want you to go to Marquette and get this guy. We think he was involved in the loss of this.
Oh, no, I don't think so. He probably just took a vacation.
Next week, because the one shot that's coming on, we will be here next week.
Yes.
But we're gonna talk Unearthed Arcana.
Yes. Maybe do a little class building.
Yep. So we will see you guys then, and take care of each other, and see you next week.
I guess.